The Penguins fall to the Carolina Hurricanes in their second of two games at home. It's the second loss of the 2024-2025 season at home for the Pens. Let's talk Pens and Canes right now on Sports for Beginners. This is Penguins Postgame. My name is Scott McGregor. Let's get rolling. You're locked in to Penguins hockey on the Sports for Beginners podcast. Sidney Crosby and the Penguins play here on the Sports for Beginners podcast. Hey, Shooty scores! The bingo game is ready to roll. Welcome to Penguins postgame. I'm PPG for PGH, and you'd have to be here to believe it. Here is your host, Scott McGregor. Penguins win a wild one on Wednesday night, 6-5, the final score in overtime. Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin picking up milestone nights on those nights as well. Well, what do you know? We were able to bring you a mini edition of Penguins Pre-Show. Penguins Pre-Show is hosted by the host of On the Ice and Behind the Benches, Thomas McGregor, who is going to be our host for that program. No keys to victory, unfortunately, for me, but you know what? That's okay. I probably will have a couple of keys to victory ahead of the Winnipeg Jets game between the Penguins and the Jets. And just a programming note here, we may have Penguins and Bills postgame come your way on Monday at recording times. Both games the Penguins are at 3 p.m. Eastern time. Of course, the Buffalo Bills game is at 1 p.m. Eastern time. That's a short week for Buffalo fans for the Buffalo Bills. And of course, the Penguins are about to kick off a 4-game road trip beginning in Winnipeg. Penguins pre-show will return ahead of the late night game that will kickstart 3 late night games between the Calgary Flames and the Pittsburgh Penguins. I'll be back with you on Wednesday following our Weekly in Sports program. That actually will be before our Weekly in Sports end of the month October program, which actually is going to drop. It's going to be recorded on Wednesday. It is going to drop on the 24th of October. Happy Halloween to all of you who are getting into the Halloween spooky spirit of the spookiest holiday of the year. That is a Thursday from next Thursday, October 24th, 2024. I will have you again for Edmonton and Vancouver, time permitting on the shows. Those are back-to-backs. If we don't get to Edmonton and Vancouver, we will move right along to a night that Phil Borg was talking about a lot on the broadcast. If you don't have tickets, I know I don't have tickets, but I'm definitely going to be looking forward to, hopefully, if I'm able to get into it and watch it, hopefully watch this game between old friend Marc-Andre Fleury and the Pittsburgh Penguins, taking on old friend Marc-Andre Fleury and the Minnesota Wild from Pittsburgh, the site of tonight's game we're recapping. The Penguins fell 4-1 to Rod Brindamore's Carolina Hurricanes, who are only playing in their third game this season. For the Penguins, however, they have played in One, two, three, four, five. This is game 6 of their 82 game season. So the Penguins have played in now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, 6 games in their 82 game season. This is broadcast number 6 of 82. And the Penguins now have 3 wins and 3 losses. They sit third in the Metro as we speak right now. But we'll talk about that more another time. This is Penguins postgame. Head coaches, as we always like to open up Penguins postgame, are Mike Sullivan for the Pittsburgh Penguins. And for the Carolina Hurricanes, it's Rod Brind'Amour. And the starting goaltenders for the Carolina Hurricanes, their starting goaltender would be number 31, Frederik Andersen, backed up by number 52, PK, Petro Kiokovic, PK. We're gonna keep it to PK. That's number 52, the backup for the Carolina Hurricanes tonight. The only change to the Carolina Hurricanes lineup was that instead of PK getting the start against Pittsburgh, it would be Frederik Andersen, a former Maple Leaf goaltender that the Penguins, I believe now, are all too familiar with. I thought we would see Jake Guentzel, but Jake Guentzel was traded in the offseason. He landed in Tampa Bay, so we're going to have to wait a little while longer to see Jake Guentzel. Maybe we won't have to wait that long, but we are definitely not going to see Jake Guentzel play the Penguins in the month of October, the spookiest month of the year. Quickly here before we get to the Penguins starting goaltenders and take our first break, as we will also get to the scratches and the injured players. No scratches to be notified here. Well, according to my notes, no scratch to be notified here for the Carolina Hurricanes. Obviously, that might not be the case the other way around. But quickly here before we get to the injuries and who the Penguins would counter Frederik Andersen with and PK with. Quickly here, want to give a shout out to my good friend Sienna Trigiani, host of the Cosmopolitan Culture Club under the name Sienna T, and also the host of the Sienna T Radio Song Bank. That's Sienna T Radio Song Bank, which is every alternate Friday from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Central, and of course, other times to be determined within the Pacific Time. That would actually be 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. It's a 2-hour program, 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific, and midnight, yes, midnight to 2 a.m. in the UK. That is the timeline of the Sienna T Radio Song Bank every alternate Friday. Every other Friday, I should say. Of course, the Cosmopolitan Culture Club is back this Thursday, October 24th, 2024, from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Central, 1 a.m. to 2 a.m. in the UK, 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Yep, that makes sense. 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific. And of course, in the UK, when you look at a France time, because France is ahead of them, that would be 2 a.m. to 3 a.m. on this upcoming Thursday, which is the 24th of October. And The next song bank, which will be on November the 1st, would be from 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. in France time. All right. With that all being said, more on the schedule upcoming for CNT Radio a little later on, but we've got to get down to business. So as mentioned, we've mentioned our Penguins and Hurricanes starting goaltenders and our head coaches rather, and our starting goaltenders so far for the Carolina Hurricanes, which are head coached by Rod Brindamore. The Penguins are head coached by Mike Sullivan, as I said. And the starting goaltenders tonight, Penguins turn to the rookie, Joel Blomqvist. He's getting his start in net. He was getting the start in net tonight. Not a good night. It wasn't a good night for Joel Blomqvist, but I like what I've seen from him in the nights when he has looked good, and the Penguins have been able to win him a hockey game. The dude stood on his head and gave the Penguins a chance to win this hockey game. He made some timely saves, but unfortunately, the Penguins got the first goal in this game, and unfortunately, shortly after that, the Hurricanes took this game on cruise control and they basically took it and won. Game time was 7 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Pacific, midnight in the UK, and 1 a.m. France time. It is actually now 10:03 p.m. Eastern Time, which is 9:03 p.m. Central Time, and that also is 10 p.m. Pacific Time. Actually, maybe not. Maybe that's oh no, that's 8 p.m. Pacific Time, excuse me. It's 8 p.m. Pacific Time. And it's also it's also when you look at the UK and France time, it's also 4 a.m. in Paris. It's the time now in France, and 3 a.m. in London. So if you're joining us here tonight on the podcast, which is an early morning show here, it's been pre-recorded around these timelines right now. But if you're joining us here tonight on the podcast and you're on the east side, the East Coast side, if you're joining us here now, thank you guys so much for joining us here. It's a voice memoed show. It's also a pre-recorded program that is going to be it's definitely part of Penguins Wednesday hockey on the ice and behind the benches, but it could be part of the October 23rd lineup, which is this Wednesday. You'll hear my reactions from the Penguins Red Wings game, the Penguins Rangers game, which was, as we all can attest to, quite embarrassing. Maybe you have a different opinion on that game, but for me it was quite embarrassing, losing 6-0 at home, 6-0, excuse me, at home to the New York Rangers, a Metro Division opponent. And of course, well, you know what happened next. The Penguins got a W against the Detroit Red Wings 6-3. They lost to Toronto, beat Montreal, and then won a thriller in overtime just the other night on Wednesday night, in quartered with a milestone night for Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin. Tonight, not the case. We're going to break it all down for you in just a moment. Joel Blomqvist getting the start, Tristan Jarry backing him up. And we know that Alex Nedeljkovic was assigned to the AHL Penguins affiliate team, Wilkes-Barre Scranton. So he was activated off the IR. So he's off the injured reserve, for those of you who don't know what IR is short for. And with that being said, that'll wrap up our opening segment. We'll get to the scratches and injured players on the other side of later on in the program, but our period by period summary is coming up next. We are going to do it all in one segment, with the game totals kicking us off in our second segment of the breakdown, as we will get to our 3 stars of the games and the game totals. But by the end of the period by period summary, which is coming up next, including the second period, first period, third period, scoring, and penalties, we will get you the shots on goal by period for this game between the Pens and the Canes, which is the short form for the Penguins and the Hurricanes. And if you have been impacted by that unsuspecting Hurricane Milton, which has been running amok in Tampa Bay, Carolina, and well, not really Carolina, but other parts of the world as well, and including Tampa Bay, we really, really hope that you guys are doing whatever you can to stay safe. I'm not going to get into much more on that, but we do send our prayers here at Sports for Beginners, and of course on Penguins postgame. Even though this is a Penguins postgame show, we do send our heartfelt condolences to anyone who may have lost their lives during this horrible tragedy that has been ongoing for the past couple of days in Tampa Bay and other areas it's been affecting. So we are with you in the fight. We send our condolences to anyone who has passed away throughout the tragedy that has been going on. And we also send our prayers to everyone involved. Hopefully everyone is doing well and doing whatever they can to stay safe. We will be back right after this to break down the Penguins' 4-1 loss over the Hurricanes, as they are once again unable to defeat the division. They lost to the New York Rangers 6-0 on Wednesday night, the opening night of the season. Defeated Buffalo this past Wednesday night 6-5 in overtime. Defeated both Montreal and Detroit 6-3 in regulation down in Detroit and in Montreal. They fell to Toronto 4-2. But once again, one of the things that looks like to be in question is the Penguins' power play, which was absolutely not good this game. I don't want to say it was embarrassing or disgusting or anything like that, which I just said, but I don't want to say anything like that, so I'm going with absolutely not good tonight. They were absolutely terrible tonight. They were not good tonight. We'll talk about it all in the game stats, but coming up next, right after this, we go into the game from the first period scoring to the second period scoring. Of course, the first period penalties are coming up as well, to the third period scoring and penalties as well. No overtime to speak of in this game, so no overtime scoring or penalties to come by in our period summary, our period by period summary, which comes your way next as Penguins postgame continues in a moment.
take another look with Gerda Felix and Melanie Taddeo Malo, two powerful women of diverse backgrounds having genuine, unique, and uncomfortable conversations that everyone needs to have. Join Melanie and Gerda for conversations about what is missing from human connections.
CNT Radio will never give you up. They will never let you down. Nor will they run around or desert you. So join Nick Astley for The Melting Pot every Saturday on CNT Radio. Hang on a minute. He's not Nick Astley. Oh, jings, I've done it wrong. Anyway, just join Nick for The Melting Pot on CNT Radio.
Welcome back to Penguins Postgame, our sixth broadcast of Penguins Postgame so far. This is the sixth game the Penguins have played, according to, and I went over to our standings just in case. Check it out. Yes, the Penguins have played 6 games now in the 82-game season, which means we have a few more games to go. We have a couple of games to go. We have now broadcasted here on Sports for Beginners. We have now broadcasted 6 games the Penguins have played this season, which means we now have 76 games to go. If we cannot get to all 82, like it is my goal, we'll try to get to at least 81 if possible. But again, it should be noted this is Carolina's 3rd game they've played. They did not play the other game they had scheduled against the Tampa Bay Lightning due to the hurricane that was going on. So they were unable to play that one in Tampa Bay. Hopefully everyone is doing well and doing whatever they can to stay safe. As I mentioned in the venue portion, which we forgot to do, which was PPG Paints Arena, the site of Wednesday night's game and the site of tonight's game as well. We wanted to make sure that we get that in now. And as I mentioned in that segment where we talked about the Penguins head coach and Hurricanes head coach as well, we want to let everyone know that those are Rod Brindamore and Mike Sullivan. We also talked about the goalies. And as I said in the opening, we send our prayers and condolences to everyone affected by Hurricane Milton, the hurricane that has been disrupting things, especially in sports. So we want to send our heartfelt condolences and prayers to everyone affected and hope everyone is staying safe. And condolences to anyone who passes away during this tragedy. So I know that my voice went a little low there, but again, we want to make sure that we are acknowledging everyone. Shout out to Sienna Trigiani and Thomas McGregor. Thomas had us covered on Penguins pre-show. And of course, Sienna had us covered on a big game. No, not big game. A nice big show where Sienna can correct me if I'm wrong, but there was someone who asked, I think it was Nozard, he asked Sienna, if you're getting ready for Halloween, after I, brought up a request to play Ghostbusters by Ray Parker Jr. And yeah, I guess we could say that, because Halloween is, if you wouldn't believe it, Penguin fans, Halloween is like literally a week from next week. Halloween is literally a week from next week. As if you don't believe me, just look. We have one more Friday left in the month. We have one more Friday left in the month, and that's the 25th. We have one Thursday left in the month, and that's Halloween. But we have a Wednesday. We have a Wednesday left after next week, which is the 23rd. And yeah, there's going to be a lot to talk about. Speaking of Halloween, the Anaheim Ducks are in town to play the Penguins on Halloween night. So hopefully you guys check into that game. That's gonna be a real spook fest. I'll guarantee you that. No matter who comes out with a W. All right. This is the period by period summary and segment. So let's stop the spookiness for now and get down to business. All right. So as I said before, the Penguins do get the game's first goal, but they end up losing 4-1. Here's how it all went down. Let's start by the first period, and we'll do it all in order here. So in the first period, first, we would see Sean Walker take a 2-minute minor for holding at 3 minutes and 24 seconds. 3 minutes and 20 seconds, excuse me. 3 minutes and 20 seconds, excuse me. That's what I meant to say. 3 minutes and 20 seconds. 2 minutes for holding to number 26, Sean Walker. And Drew O'Connor scores moments later at 12 minutes and 20 seconds. His third goal of the season. And guess what? He scored the other night. I believe. He did score the other night, I believe. If I get this right. Yes, he did. So that's back-to-back nights we've had goals by Drew O'Connor. And O'Connor did score in this game. That's his third goal of the night. Sorry, third goal of the season, only goal of the night, and the only Penguin goal of the night. Assisted by number 20, Lars Eller. And by number 18, Jesse Puljujarvi. For Puljujarvi, it's his third assist of the season. For Lars Eller, his second assist of the season. Again, time of the goal, 12 minutes and 20 seconds. Penguins get the early 1-0 lead. Well, there's a first. Didn't see the Penguins get the early lead in any of the other games they've played. Okay, maybe they did do that against Toronto, but that was a first against a Metro opponent. Hadn't seen them get the lead yet. And they did indeed get the game. They did indeed get the game's first goal. So they lead 1-0. But wait just a little bit. Jackson Blake, his second goal of the season, gets the Hurricanes on the board. His number is number 53. He was assisted by number 50, Eric Robertson, his first assist of the season. And by number 82, J.K. Jespierre Kontaniemi, his second assist of the season. Time of the goal, 13 minutes, 24 seconds. After the first 20, which saw shots on goal in favor of the Hurricanes at 10-4. So the Hurricanes leading the Penguins in the shot total 10-4 after 20 minutes. And it was indeed a Hurricanes fest later in the next two periods, as we'll get into now. But after 20, all knotted up at 1 goal apiece. Penguins 1, Hurricanes 1. Second period we go, and penalties once again get us started. As Penguins penalty will go to number 28, Marcus Pettersson. 2 minutes for holding. The time of the penalty was 6 minutes, 13 seconds in. Not good. Not good at all for the Penguins. Ooh, I forgot to add the time of the goal for this goal. Oops. My bad. Anyways, time of the goal as I read it to you on our NHL app, brought to you, which you can download for free to follow your favorite team all season long. Time of the goal after the Marcus Pettersson penalty at 6 minutes and 52 seconds. 6 minutes, 52 seconds. Nice. This goal is a power play goal for the Carolina Hurricanes. One of their 2 goals they would score on the power play, both in the second period. This goal goes to number 88, Martin Nikis, his first of the season. Assisted by number 24, Seth Jarvis. His first of the season. First assist of the season. And by number 20, Sebastian Aho. His first of the season. Time of the goal, once again, 6 minutes, 52 seconds. Hurricanes grab the lead, 2-1. Penguins penalty goes to Christopher Letang. This one for slashing on Chris Letang, number 58. Chris Letang going to the box, 2 minutes for slashing. 8 minutes and 28 seconds in. And just a few moments later, after the Hurricanes take a penalty, as Jackson Blake, number 53, goes to the box for slashing at 10 minutes and 23 seconds, as well as Drew O'Connor, number 10 of the Penguins, finds himself in the box at the same time slot, 10 minutes, 23 seconds. He finds himself in the box, 2 minutes for roughing. And the Penguins' penalties would just continue. But anyways, rolling on here in the second period, it's after the Penguins' penalty to Michael Bunting, which is a double minor, we'll get to in a second. After the roughing penalty to a side, well, actually, the roughing penalty went to Drew O'Connor, the slashing penalty to Jackson Blake. Hurricanes send the Penguins to the power play again. This one is against William Carrier, number 28. 2 minutes for tripping. Time of the penalty, 10 minutes and 45 seconds. Then Michael Bunting is caught for high sticking. It's a 4-minute major, a 4-minute minor rather, for high sticking at 16 minutes and 4 seconds into the second period. On that point of time, former Philadelphia Flyer, now Carolina Hurricane, Shane Gostisbehere, his second goal of the season. It's the second power play goal of the night for the Carolina Hurricanes, as they go up 3-1. Shane Gostisbehere's second goal of the season is another power play goal for Carolina, as it is assisted by number 37, Andrei Shmetnikov, his second assist of the season, and number 88, Martiniquez, second assist of the season. Second assist. Nope. Second assist of the season for him. Only assist of the night for him. Second of the season. Same could be said for Andrei Svechnikov. No hat tricks in this game. Both players on Carolina, as well as only one goal was scored by Pittsburgh. That was credited to Drew O'Connor. But the Hurricanes had more goals. They had 4 goals. They scored 4 unanswered. We'll get to the number 4 in just a moment. But after 40 minutes and after back-to-back power play goals, one after the other, right after a couple of minutes, like a couple of minutes apart, rather, the Carolina Hurricanes lead by 2. It's 3-1 in favor of the Hurricanes after 40 minutes. Shots on goal per the period, 18 for the Hurricanes and 7 for the Penguins. So once again, just a reminder, the first period shot total, it was 4 for the Penguins, 10 for the Hurricanes, and for the Hurricanes in the second period, 18 for the Penguins, 7. To the final 20 minutes we go. It's the third period now. To the final 20 minutes we go, and it's the third period. After the 4-minute minor to Michael Bunting at 16 minutes and 4 seconds in the second period. Off we go to the third period, where the Penguins just continue to struggle to find the net. They were 0 for 5 tonight. We'll reiterate the game stats a little bit later in Penguins post-game, but we are wrapping up the period-by-period summary here after our penalties and scoring for the third period, which is right now. Hurricanes take a penalty early. Penguins get an early opportunity. Eric Robertson, number 50. 2 minutes for tripping. Time of the penalty, 2:09. 2 minutes and 9 seconds. Sean Walker takes another penalty. His second penalty of the night. This one is a 2-minute minor for delay of game. Delaying the game, up puck over the glass is what it was called. And that is one of Carolina's penalties. We also see later in the game, that was at 13 minutes and 35 seconds. Later in the game, Penguins doing a good job staying out of the box for the third period, but guess what? They're still down. So later in the game, before the penalty to Sean Walker, number 96, Jack Rozovic hits his first goal of the new season, assisted by number 82, Jesper Kotkaniemi, his second assist of the night. Second assist of the night for Kotkaniemi. Third of the season. And Dmitry Orlov, number 7, picks up his second assist of the season, only assist of the night. It's 4-1 Hurricanes at 11 minutes into the third period. That was when the goal was scored. That came before the Sean Walker penalty for delay of game. And then last-ditch effort. Can the Penguins make it 4-2 Hurricanes, or at least 4-3 if possible? Well, they get an opportunity here as the Penguins go to the power play again. Number 53, Jackson Blake, 2-minute for tripping. Time of the penalty, 19 minutes. And the Penguins looking for at least a chance to make it 4-2, but unsuccessful. The Hurricanes go on to win it, and they do so in convincing fashion, finishing the game with 11 shots on goal to tally a total of 39 shots on goal. The Penguins outshot the Hurricanes in the third period, not by much though. 15-11. The Penguins had 15 shots, the Hurricanes 11 in the third period. 11 shots on goal for the Hurricanes in the third period. 15 for the Pens, however. But the final tally is Penguins 26 shots on goal. Hurricanes 39 shots on goal. The rest of the game stats, 3 stars. My play of the game, all coming up next on Penguins postgame. Time permitting, we'll get to the game pucks of the game. Haven't really been active on my Discord for the Penguins Discord server, but now would be the time. If you're listening to the podcast now, even though it's a pre-recorded version, now would be the time to email me at sportsforbeginners podcast8231@gmail.com, or go to the Discord server if you're on Discord at Penguins post-game show interactions. We enjoy the interactions. And if you're listening to the show and have been listening since we started the show back in 2022, if you have been listening to Sports for Beginners since we started in 2022, you're already a part of the Sports for Beginners family, and we enjoy you coming on to check us out. We enjoy everything that you guys do to make us a chance to get a listen, no matter how long our shows may be. So, with that being said, when we return, 3 stars of the game, my play of the game, time permitting, shake of the game is coming up as well in the next segment, as well as our play of the game, our 3 stars, and we reiterate the shots on goal and other game totals when we return to Penguins postgame. We'll be right back after this.
Looking for conversations on books and more, as well as tutorials on using your favorite devices and applications? You've come to the right place. Join us weekly on Spicy Techie, where Ali and Sienna provide insightful conversations, as well as useful tips and tricks to help you along on your technological journey. To learn more, tune into the show and like the Spicy Techie Facebook page. Search for Spicy Techie.
Looking for conversations on the world of broadcasting, sports media, and from time to time, my favorite sports teams? Listen to Broadcast Map with me, Ali Musa. To learn more about the show and to view the upcoming schedule, like the Broadcast Map Facebook page. Search Broadcast Map.
Time for a little look at the schedule here before we get to the 3 stars of the game and whatnot. We mentioned a few things already in the CNT radio schedule. One thing we didn't mention was their schedule upcoming. If you're tuning into this on Saturday, you'll know that every Saturday we kick things off now. It used to be a double play where it would be Nick Blazewitz from 11:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 10:30 a.m. to 3:30 a.m., 10:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Central Time, and 4:30 to 5:30 p.m. in the UK, which is 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. in France, followed by, in France time, at that point in time, which is 7:30 to 8:30 p.m. UK time, the Classical Cafe with Samantha Ash. That would be 8:30 to 9:30 p.m. in France. And of course, we would have Samantha Ash kicking off the afternoon of the Saturday programming with the Classical Cafe, open from 2:30 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 1:30 p.m. to 2:30 p.m. Central, and 7:30 to 8:30 p.m. in the UK, which is 8:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. France time, followed by Robert Godridge, which would come your way at 9:30 p.m. until 10:30 p.m. France time, 8:30 to 9:30 p.m., 8:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. in the UK, and 2:30 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. Central Time, as well as 3:30 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time. All right, so there you have it. Nick gets us started with the melting pot in the morning on the east side at 11:30 a.m. Eastern, 10:30 a.m. Central, 4:30 p.m. UK, 5:30 p.m. France time, followed later by Samantha Ash with the Classical Cafe at 2:30 p.m. Eastern, 1:30 p.m. Central, 7:30 p.m. UK, 8:30 p.m. France time. And then it wraps up with the Hourglass with Robert Godridge on CNT Radio from 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 2:30 p.m. Central Time, 8:30 p.m. UK time, and 9:30 p.m. France time. That is your schedule for Saturday. And then, of course, this coming Thursday, you've got Sienna T. You got Sienna T in the studio for you from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Central, 1 a.m. to 2 a.m. in the UK, 2 a.m. to 3 a.m. France time, with the Cosmopolitan Culture Club, and of course, 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific time. All right. That's coming your way on Thursday. The Saturday shows are the Melting Pot, the Classical Cafe, and the Hourglass. And then, of course, that will follow up the Cosmopolitan Culture Club on the next Saturday, as it's every Saturday that we have Nick Blazewood starting us off, followed by Samantha Ash and Robert Godridge. All right. A look at our schedule for our programming. Another time on Penguins postgame. But it is time, now that we have gone through the period-by-period summary, to reiterate the shots on goal. And, of course, we reiterate the other stats, I should say, for the game stats. And we'll get to the 3 stars as well. No introduction this year for the 3 stars segment, but we will have an introduction for the shake of the game segment, which we are going to split this segment just in case we want to make some time for game pucks of the game. It is 10:40 p.m. Eastern time now as we record. And I do want to let you guys know that we are going to be wrapping up the program after game pucks of the game. This also means, even though there are only 2 games on right now, well, actually only 1 game on right now to speak of, to be honest, because the other game just went final, but there were 3 games on. We will only do 1, and I only mean 1, we'll do 1 look around the league at tonight's action on this Friday night. Hope everyone is having a great Friday night. If you're listening to this, odds are you probably are listening to this by the time these games go final. So we are just providing you with what we are doing as we record the program now. So without further ado, let's get to, before we get to the look around the NHL, let's get to the game stats at the end of the game, in which the Carolina Hurricanes defeat the Penguins 4-1. It is, once again, the Carolina Hurricanes shooting out. Yes, they shut out. They shot out. They shoot out, I should say. They shoot out. You know what? We're just going to say they shot out. They outshot. Yeah, that works better. They outshot the Penguins 39-26. It doesn't seem too bad, considering the Penguins didn't have that many shots on goal. In 57 faceoffs that were won, the Penguins won 52.6% of the faceoffs, accompanying with 30 faceoff wins. The Carolina Hurricanes won 47.4% of the faceoffs, winning 27 out of 57. Their penalty kill was good, a perfect 5 for 5 against the Penguins' 0 for 5 power play. The Penguins' penalty kill 2 for 4, same as Carolina's power play, which was 2 for 4. Not perfect for Carolina, but 50% good, and a little bit better than Pittsburgh's power play, who just did not click tonight. They did not click tonight at all. 0 for 5, but the good news is the penalty kill killed off 2 of the 4 penalties. Maybe I have that wrong. Just going to go check here, because I know the Penguins post this. They posted their stats after the game. So just going to double check here just to make sure I have that stat right. Just going to double check here. Yeah, I got that right. Penguins 0 for 5 on the power play. 2 for 4 on the penalty kill. Hurricanes 5 for 5 on the penalty kill. 2 for 4 on the power play. And just about 53% the Penguins were good when it came to the face-off percentages, and 47% for the Hurricanes. The blocks, as we speak here, they would check out as 21 block shots, for the Penguins, 13 for the Hurricanes. The Hurricanes were out hit by the Penguins 27-15. The Hurricanes spent 12 minutes in the penalty box, and the Penguins spent 10 minutes in the penalty box. Both teams finished in terms of takeaways. Carolina finishes with 6 takeaways. Pittsburgh finishes with 3 takeaways. And the Penguins finish with 17 giveaways. Carolina with 15 giveaways in this game. They'll play again on November the 7th, a few days before Remembrance Day. That game will be in Carolina, in Raleigh, North Carolina. And then, happy birthday to my brother and myself, as the Penguins will play in Raleigh, North Carolina on January 5th, 2024 at 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Central, 3 p.m. Pacific Time, and 11 p.m. in the UK, midnight France time, on January the 5th, 2024. That is going to be January the 6th, 2025, not 2024, 2025, in France. It will still, however, be January the 5th in the UK at game time for the Hurricanes and the Pens in Raleigh, North Carolina on January 5th, 2025. And you know the drill if you're on the east side. It's going to still be January the 5th in 2025 at game time when that happens on January 5th. Going to be a special birthday edition of Penguins postgame that I really hope we can get to. If we cannot get to it, I hope that Thomas and I will enjoy our birthday. Hopefully the Pens can get a W that night. We will see where they are in the season when we get there. Tonight they fall to the Hurricanes. They'll be looking to even the season series at 1 game apiece when they play again, this one in Raleigh, North Carolina, on November the 7th, 2024. The final time they will face each other in 2024, but not the final time they will face each other in 2024-2025, the regular season. That is on January 5th, 2025. And that will do it for the game stats. Before we get to the 3 stars and the shake of the game, which we will do so on our next segment, let's quickly go, as we will also run out of time here in this segment to do the play of the game. Let's quickly go around the league and check out other finals in this hockey night tonight. And one of the first finals, the only final actually now, besides the Penguins falling to the Hurricanes 4-1, the San Jose Sharks were defeated by the Winnipeg Jets 8-3 in Winnipeg. And the Penguins will face the Jets on Sunday. Hopefully they can get a W against the Winnipeg Jets. We'll talk more about that in a segment upcoming following game pucks of the game, the play of the game, and of course, the game's shake of the game. All that still to come. Also ongoing right now in the NHL, besides Penguins and Hurricanes, which final at 4-1, a final. That's our game. The Jets beat the Sharks 8-3 tonight. And the Ducks right now are beating the Colorado Avalanche as they head to the third period of play. They are beating the Avalanche 2-1 as we speak, headed to the third period. It is 10:51 p.m. We'll come back on the other side and do the 3 stars of the game, the play of the game, shake of the game, take a quick 30-second timeout, and get to the game pucks of the game, plus what's next for the Hurricanes, what's coming up for the Pens, all of it coming up next on Penguins Postgame. That stuff is coming up in 30 seconds. Coming up next, however, 3 stars of the game, the play of the game, and the shake of the game coming up when we return to Penguins Postgame. And in 30 seconds, we'll come back for the game pucks of the game. Maybe one final check-in around the league to check on that Ducks Avalanche game ongoing, heading into the third period. And then we'll wrap it all up. Reminder, check out Penguins Live weekly on WXDX FM Pittsburgh, an iHeart radio station, and 1059 DX, as well as if you have the Pittsburgh Penguins hockey app, the Penguins app, you can listen to it on the Penguins radio app, on the Penguins app. Download the app for yourself, Penguin fans, and follow your favorite team in the Pittsburgh Penguins all year long. All right. We'll come back on the other side for the 3 stars of the game, the shake of the game, and the play of the game. It's all coming up in the next segment. And then coming up in 30, after we take that 30-second timeout, we wrap up the show. We're almost at the end of the show, so now send in your 3 stars of the game, play of the game, shake of the game, and game puck of the game recipients right now, because we're going to do it all when we return to Penguins Postgame. Penguins and Hurricanes come back right after this. Looking for a good hockey podcast that covers your favorite hockey teams and mine? Check out On the Ice and Behind the Benches, where we chat about our favorite hockey teams from puck drop to the last play of the action. To learn more, follow the On the Ice and Behind the Benches Facebook page. Search On the Ice and Behind the Benches. Welcome back to Penguins Postgame here, 6th program of the 2024-2025 Pittsburgh Penguins hockey season for the regular season. Penguins fall 4-1 at the hands of the division rivals, the Carolina Hurricanes, tonight Now they got to get ready for an afternoon matinee against the Winnipeg Jets. We'll have the coverage for you probably on Monday, and we'll get you ready for the Pens and the Flames as well. Thomas is going to try to get you ready for that on Penguins pre-show. Be sure to check that out if you haven't already. Check out our Montreal pregame show before the post-game show that I did. And with that all being said, let's get into it. As I said, we're going to take 30-second timeout right after this segment wraps up. So, time now for your 3 stars of the game. But first, we're going to go to my play of the game. And this time, I'm not really on the other side, or I'm on the other side with what Phil Borg had said on the radio tonight. He gave his play of the game to Martin Niquez on the power play goal, I think it was. Phil, you can let me know if I'm wrong on that. Maybe you gave it to Shane. But my play of the game is going to go to the former Philadelphia Flyer, Shane Gostisbehere. It's going to go to Shane Gostisbehere. Nice little power play goal. I'm going to check the highlights out after we get out of here on this program if I get a chance. Probably before I go to bed after the show. But was really nice setup there by Martin Niquez to Andrei Shmesnikov, who got it over to Shane Gostisbehere. And that ultimately made it 3-1 Hurricanes against Pittsburgh. So with that all being said, here is your 3 stars of the game. We're not going to play the play of the game for you this time, but we did so in our last post-game show that I'm sure you're anxiously awaiting to drop on Penguins post-game. I'm sure you're anxiously awaiting that to drop. Well, good news. It did drop. It actually dropped yesterday ahead of this game. The same as our Victory Tuesday show from Monday Night Football for the Buffalo Bills, who defeated the New York Jets in a thriller. Well, you want to talk about thrillers. Wednesday night against Buffalo was a thriller. And this one almost turned into a thriller. But the Hurricanes keep the Penguins off the scoreboard in the second period and in the third period as well. So no overtime to speak of in this game. It kind of makes me wonder, Penguin fans, it kind of makes me wonder, what was the power play doing tonight at all? The penalty kill seemed to be a little sleepy tonight, but they were able to kill off 2 penalties, which I applaud them for out of 4. I like that. But what was the power play doing? Let me know your thoughts there as I'll leave you with that question. Like, I don't know what the power play was doing, because every opportunity the Penguins got, they could not put the puck in the net. You know, it feels like 2023-2024 when the power play became an issue, and yet it kind of still is. But that's just me. Anyways, it's the 3 stars time as we want to get into it. And then I want to at least get into the shake of the game before we take our 30-second timeout. So here are your 3 stars of the game. Your 3rd star tonight is number 10, Drew O'Connor. 1 goal, 1 point, no assist. Your 2nd star is Jackson Blake. A goal, 1 point, no assist. And your 1st star is number 88, Martin Niquez. A goal, an assist, 2 points. Martin Niquez, Jackson Blake, and Drew O'Connor, DOC, are the 3 stars tonight. Time now for the shake of the game. And due to time constraints, we're just going to move it into the shake of the game. I'm not going to play the introduction for you for tonight. We're just going to play the shake of the game out as we roll on here. So here we go. Just a reminder, no shake of the game introduction happening on this show. I might do it on one of the next shows that we do. Maybe it might be another Penguin post-game show, perhaps the Jets show. But we're not going to do it tonight. The first shake of the game is going to go to an outstanding performance by Freddie Anderson, Frederick Anderson. 25 saves on 26 shots, gave up a goal at even strength, nothing more. Finishes the game with a save percentage of .962, playing 59 minutes and 29 seconds, excuse me. He's got my shake of the game, and if I was doing dominant goalie performance, he's definitely got that locked in tight. Gonna give a pick-me-up shake of the game to Kotkaniemi, Jesper Kotkaniemi. Even though he got 2 assists in this game, I think if the Penguins let him have his way, he probably not just gets assists, but he also winds up with a goal. One of the men that did have a goal in this game was Martin Nikes. He had 1 of the 4 goals in this game. Shane Gostisbehere also had a goal. Jack Roslovic had a goal. And Jackson Blake had a goal in this game. So there we go. For the Pittsburgh Penguins, pick me up time for the shake of the game for the Penguins. And there are 2 that are going to get a shake up of the game pick me up. The first is going to go to Joel Blomqvist. Faced 39 shots on goal. Made 35 interesting saves. Gave up 2 power play goals against. 2 even goals against. Even strength goals against. Gave up 4 goals as well against. To that credit. Finishes the game and goes the whole 60 minutes. But finishes the game with a save percentage of .897. Not a good night for Joel Blomqvist, but an even better night, though, for Joel Blomqvist. Even though he gives up 4 goals, it was not his best night. I think he had better nights when the Penguins won. He had a great night when they played against Buffalo in relief of Tristan Jarry. He had an interesting night against. He had a bit of an interesting night against. No, he didn't play against Montreal. He had a bit of an interesting night against the Detroit Red Wings when he played. Tristan Jarry did play against Montreal, and we also saw Tristan Jarry back up Joel Blomqvist in the game against Toronto. Not a good night for Joel Blomqvist there, but at least, even though he only gives up 4 goals, at least the Penguins got close and only dropped a pair. Tonight they lose by 3. Second guy to get a pick-me-up here. I'm even shocked I'm doing this. Fans. I'm shocked I'm doing this. But I'm going to give it to my favorite player, Sidney Crosby, and your captain of the team, the Pittsburgh Penguins captain, Sidney Crosby. No shots on goal, no goals, no assists, no points, no plus minus, no penalty minutes, which is good. That's good. That's good news for Sidney Crosby. No penalty minutes. That's good. I like that. But in 20 minutes and 13 seconds of total ice time, and 23 shifts. No goals, no points, no assists, no plus minus, no assist for Sid. Bit of a rough night there for Sid as well. And to top it all off, no power play goals, no shots on goal. He does register a block, a hit, and he gave the puck away 3 times. Does not register a takeaway, but he does manage to win 60% of his faceoffs. So for the Hurricanes, the shake of the game belongs to Frederik Andersen with Jesper Kotkaniemi as a runner-up. And the shake of the game, pick-me-up shake of the games, belong to Sidney Crosby and Joel Blomqvist. Tonight's scratches, none for the Hurricanes to speak of. Only injury to speak of for them goes to number 61, Riley Stillman, out with a lower body injury. Injuries for the Penguins, number 11, Vasily Pomarov is out is on the injury list with an upper body injury. Matt Nieto still out with an MCL surgery. And Blake Lizito out with a concussion. As mentioned earlier, Alex Nedeljkovic sent down to Wilkes-Barre Scranton. He's technically still on IR, but they activated him off of the IR ahead of the game. So with that being said, the scratches to account for the Penguins, number 48, Valtteri Puustinen, and number 5, Ryan Shea. All right. The shake of the game, 3 stars of the game, play of the game in the books. When we come back after this in 30 seconds, what's next for the Canes? What's next for the Pens? That and more. Plus, when you can expect the next Penguins postgame as Double Trouble returns. That's right, fans. Double Trouble is back on Sunday when the Penguins play the Jets and the Buffalo Bills play the Tennessee Titans. Double Trouble returns for Bills postgame. First, we will recap the Titans and the Bills from Buffalo, New York, in Western New York at Highmark Stadium on Sunday. Of course, recaps of these are coming to you on Monday, just in case we're not able to do them on Sunday. And of course, we will have Penguins and Jets following either Bills postgame or Dolphins postgame, whatever comes first. We'll have it following those shows as we will recap the Pens and the Jets from Winnipeg, Manitoba. Shout out to our Manitoba listeners in Canada. When we come back, who else are the Penguins playing? We find out what's next for the Pens. We'll do game pucks of the game. And we find out what's next for the Hurricanes. Obviously, you have to think the game that got postponed will be made up at some point in their schedule, as they were unable to play on October the 12th. Their back-to-back home-and-home series that kicked off the season, where they were unable to play in Tampa Bay against the Hurricanes in Tampa Bay. So we will see what is next, but you'll have to think that October 12th matchup is going to be rescheduled for them to play eventually. We will take a look at all of that on the other side, including the game pucks of the game, which come your way in 30 seconds. In 30 seconds, Penguins postgame will return after this quick word from our friends at Sienna T Radio, making your day brighter one song at a time. Back in 30 after this from Sienna T Radio for more from Pens and Hurricanes here in our Sports for Beginners podcast studio. The Penguins fall 4-1 to the Carolina Hurricanes, and the Carolina Hurricanes win back-to-back games after having to miss Saturday night when they could have been playing the Tampa Bay Lightning. We send our prayers to all affected by the hurricane that has been affecting game schedule time reschedulements. We send our thoughts out to you and hope everyone is doing well. All right, we'll be back after this to talk next 5 for the Penguins and next 5 for the Hurricanes in our final segment. It is 11:12 p.m. We'll be back in 30 seconds to wrap this up.
Sienna T Radio will never give you up. They will never let you down. Nor will they run around or desert you. So join Nick Astley for The Melting Pot every Saturday on Sienna T Radio. Hang on a minute. He's not Nick Astley. Oh, jings, I've done it wrong. Anyway, just join Nick for The Melting Pot on Sienna T Radio.
Well, this was a stinker for the Penguins, but you're going to have games like that. The least we can get out of this matchup is at least the Penguins were able to score a goal against the Hurricanes, unlike Wednesday when they did not score any goals against the New York Rangers. You got to wonder, when they play the Rangers next, they're looking to change that narrative. So we'll look at that down the road. Game pucks of the game coming up in just a moment, and actually, you know what? We actually are on a time limit here, so we're gonna save that for our Jets show. So game pucks of the game will follow the Jets post game show here. We're gonna actually, due to time constraints, we will move over to our what's next for the Pens, what's next for the Hurricanes in their next 5. So let's jump to that right now. And coming up, a couple of late night games after an afternoon matinee with the Winnipeg Jets for the Penguins, which we'll talk about more in a little bit. But yeah, again, just due to time constraints here, as we're going to try to get out of here before 11:30, maybe just a few minutes before that timeline. It is 11:14 p.m. as we record our final portion of the show. So the Penguins will play a couple of late night games, 3 of them, as they as they roll in to Calgary to take on the Flames. They'll take on the Flames in Calgary on Tuesday night. Back at it in Edmonton on Friday night, and then a quick turnaround in Vancouver to play the Canucks on Saturday night. They'll then play Marc-Andre Fleury and the Minnesota Wild in Pittsburgh on the Tuesday night following their upcoming Tuesday night game, which follows this afternoon matinee between the undefeated Winnipeg Jets, who will come into this game at 4-0 because they defeated, let me just double check here, make sure I have that right. Oh, no, sorry, they've played 3 games. So they will come in against the undefeated 3-0 Winnipeg Jets, who defeated the who defeated the Sharks 8-3 tonight. We'll see who has the upper hand in the afternoon matinee at 3 p.m. between the Jets and the Penguins. Double Trouble is back with you as we will recap the Titans and Bills game before we get to the Jets and the Penguins. And of course, Thomas will get you set up for the Calgary Flames and the Pittsburgh Penguins. I'll have a post-game show for you following and before Weekly in Sports for October, the end of the month program for October 2024. It is our second last It is our second last Wednesday end of the month program for October 2024. That is going to be our second last show for Weekly in Sports before the transition in 2025 can take place, with our final show coming your way at the end of the month in November on Weekly in Sports. So be sure you stick around for those. More on that show a little later. But yes, the next 5 for the Penguins at Winnipeg this Sunday, this weekend. At Calgary next Tuesday night on October 22nd, 2024. At Edmonton on Friday. At Vancouver Saturday night. Back at it after 2 nights off on Tuesday night against Marc-Andre Fleury and the Minnesota Wild. Want to make sure I get that right. Minnesota Wild. And now for the Carolina Hurricanes. They'll be back in action tomorrow. So they're on a back-to-back. They're back in action tomorrow as they will take on the St. Louis Blues. Then they are in Edmonton. To take on the Edmonton Oilers on Tuesday night, October 22nd, 2024. They'll play the Calgary Flames after the Penguins play the Flames. This one in Calgary. And that will be on Thursday, October 24th, 2024. The Hurricanes will then also be in action Saturday against the Seattle Kraken in Seattle. That is not this Saturday, which is tomorrow, but that is the next Saturday coming on the 26th. They'll follow that up with a matinee against Vancouver at 10 p.m. Eastern on Monday, October 28th, 2024. So for the Hurricanes, their next 5 are at St. Louis tomorrow night, at Edmonton Tuesday night, at Calgary Thursday night, at Seattle next Saturday night, and at Vancouver next Monday night, following the 21st. Not this Monday night, which is the 21st. Next Monday night, the 28th of October, before they wrap up at home the October schedule with a matinee game at 7 p.m. Eastern against the big bad Boston Bruins. Will they have a game against the Lightning before they play the Bruins? We'll find out in due time. All right. Since we didn't do game pucks of the game, we're going to check in one final time just on the ongoing game because, as you know, the Hurricanes beat the Penguins 4-1, and the Winnipeg Jets, who the Penguins will face on Sunday, defeated the San Jose Sharks 8-3. The Colorado Avalanche have tied the game up in the third period against the Ducks. It is 2-2 in the third period of that game. So that one is anyone's game. We'll see what the final score is of the game in Denver, Colorado. By the time you listen to this program, it will have gone final. Hopefully, you'll listen to it before Rangers, Leafs, Canucks, Flyers, among other teams, in a packed game, in a packed studio, I should say, of games this Saturday. A lot of games coming Saturday on a Saturday for hockey, and a couple of big games coming on Hockey Night in Canada, including the Kraken hosting the Flames, the Maple Leafs hosting the Rangers, all that and more coming up on Saturday. All right. It is about 11:22 p.m. and this is where we are going to say goodnight for Penguins post game, because this is a night game, a night show that we are doing. So it's come down to the time to say goodnight from Penguins post game. So before we get there, tonight's officials for this game at PPG Paints Arena: Carter Sandlak, Kendrick Nicholson are the referees. CJ Murray and Matt McPherson are your linesmen. Once again, the linesmen, CJ Murray and Matt McPherson. Kendrick Nicholson and Carter Sandlak were the referees tonight at PPG Paints Arena, where the Penguins fell 4-1 to the Carolina Hurricanes. The series wraps up with 2 in Raleigh, North Carolina, but next up for the Pens and next up for Penguins postgame, it's an afternoon matinee game against the Winnipeg Jets. Can the Penguins end the unbeatable Winnipeg Jets? We will find out on Sunday. Also on Sunday, as that's part of Double Trouble, we will find out if the Buffalo Bills are 4-3, if the Buffalo Bills are 5-2. We'll find those answers out all on Sunday. Penguins fall 4-1 to the Carolina Hurricanes. They'll do it all again on November the 7th from Raleigh, North Carolina. Your attendance record tonight at PPG Paints Arena, the site of the game tonight: 17,074 fans in attendance on Mario Lemieux bobblehead night in Pittsburgh. Penguins lose it 4-1, and I am your host, Scott McGregor, wanting to remind you to love one another and saying, even though it's not Halloween yet, but as we get closer to Halloween, I want to say Happy Halloween to all of you who celebrate and are getting ready to celebrate the holiday. And once again, love one another. My name is Scott McGregor. You've just listened to Pittsburgh Penguins Hockey on Sports for Beginners, the podcast. Have a great rest of your evening, everybody. If you're catching this in the evening, whenever it may be, on our podcast, or a great rest of your day, whenever it may be. And I look forward to catching up with you again real soon after the game between the Penguins and the Jets. And if you're a Bills fan / Penguins fan, I hope to catch you after Bills and Titans before we go to the ice to break down Jets and Pens. The Jets and the Pens are next time on Penguins postgame, so don't you dare miss it. Would love it if you took a second to rate, review, and share the podcast. And this has been a presentation of Penguins postgame on Sports for Beginners, the podcast. Part of Penguins Wednesday Hockey on the Ice and Behind the Benches. We will see you on Sunday after Penguins and Jets. Good night, everybody. And let's go, Pens. Ladies and gentlemen, Elvis has just left the building. You've just listened to Pittsburgh Penguins Hockey on the Sports for Beginners podcast. To learn more about the show and to view the upcoming schedule, like the Sports for Beginners Facebook page. Search Sports for Beginners or visit the official Sports for Beginners podcast website. Thanks for listening, and until next time, stay tuned. And remember that it is not goodbye, it is until next time. And you'd have to be here to believe it. Thank you so much for checking in to Penguins postgame this season, Penguins fans. Your host of the Sports for Beginners podcast, Scott McGregor, here. I just wanted to let you guys know that it brings me great joy to bring you a show like the one we brought you last year. And it brings me even more joy with everything that has come out of it as well. As we try to navigate through quite a year with milestone after milestone in the month of October and the month of September. As mentioned again, my name is Scott McGregor, but if you have any questions, any concerns, any content you want aired on the program, please send me an email at sportsforbeginnerspodcast 8231 @gmail.com. Once again, that's sportsforbeginnerspodcast 8231 @gmail.com. Thank you guys so much for listening to the podcast and for listening to this episode of Penguins Postgame. We will see you next time right here on Sports for Beginners. Thanks so much, and we'll talk to you again soon.